Shalom, Pastor, coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh B'Shem and Al-Shai B'Shem Kakodash. And I'm going to entitle this video, The Work of the Ministry. And I may go into, that's a whole nother subject, but I want to speak on that, and I may do another video on this subject, which is entitled HR 40. HR 40, as a matter of fact, let me do this. I'm going to go right into it. Give me a second here. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. HR 40. Okay, I believe this is what I want. Okay, so let me explain HR 40. This is from Congress, congress.gov, HR 40, Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposal for African Americans Act. So this is reparation, for Jake in America, not the other Jake tribes outside of America. Bear me for a minute. Yeah, so let me read that again. HR 40, Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposal for African Americans Act. What I want to do is I want to type in the word reparation. Because that's what's being talked about right now. I was even watching a video Jamaica. I didn't want to break off from the UK, and they're looking to get reparations too. So Jake, it says of Gad, and Gad, he shall overcome at the end. It says reparation, the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise help those who have been wronged. The courts required a convicted offender to make financial restitution to his victim, and that happens every day in the court system. You might do 6 months, and you might have to pay for the doctor bills of the person that you beat up. That's reparation. In the case of this country, we've been over here. You can go back as really the 1500s, really the late 1400s, because the first slaves by the hand and power of Esau, talking about Christopher Columbus, he came in the name of his Christ, Renaissance, Jesus. And if you didn't, he dealt with the pagans. He called them pagans. They were Israelites, Gad, Reuben, and the tribes North, Central, and South America, which includes Canada. You had a lot of Gadites in Canada. You got a lot of Jakes in Canada. You got a lot of Levites, Benjaminites, Judites, Gadites, hell, Ephraimites, the Latin tribes too. So we're all literally all over the place. So when Columbus came over, the first act that he committed, he said, you got to worship our God, which is Jesus. And they didn't understand that. And if you didn't understand it or accept the God, Jesus, the fake, the white man, Caesar Borgia, the God that Vocab Malone worships, they were actually put to death. All right, that's the history of Christianity. You know, the slave trade and plantation owners that owned slaves, they were all Christians. They were all Christians. None of them were Muslim. Right? None of them were Muslim. None of them were Buddhist. Not many of them, and that's the South. So if you're from the South, you believe in the Bible and you believe in a God, a biblical God, and a so-called white Jesus. So the people that, you know, if you want to get real with it, the people that enslaved us in America were Christians. That was an act of Christianity, and it was justified through scripture, you know, saying that they can put us in captivity, they can enslave us. And then they gave us a Bible called the Slave Bible, where they took the revenge part out and the payback part of the Bible. And see, now they're running. Now they have a thing called critical race theory. You know, you can't teach this in school because it'll offend the little white kids. But justice, there's no statute of limitation on justice. All right. So let me go ahead and read the act. So it's in the seat of government now. It's being talked about every day. And true reparations, we're not going to get reparations from these people. They're broke. They're producing money out of thin air. That's why prices. This is the real reason why prices are going up, because they're producing money by going to a central bank, Federal Reserve Bank, and they're adding zeros, and they're lending these ones followed by so many zeros to banks, and banks. That's how banks stay in business, through loans, through savings, and through loans. And a quick way to get a loan is a credit card. A credit card is nothing but a loan. It's a certain amount of money put in your card that when you use it, you got to pay it back with interest. That's why when you buy something with a credit card, if you have to, try to pay it back in less than 30 days. And there's no interest. You got to pay for. Anyway, it says HR 40, commission to study and develop reparation proposal for African Americans, which are the Israelites, for the most part, the tribe of Judah, act. And Congress doesn't even want to touch the fact that we're the Israelites. Now, what's her name, Miss Jackson, she's the first so-called Black female Supreme Court justice. And then you got Jake, oh yeah, we got it. Look, the only thing a Supreme Court justice does is they have a thing called, lawyers don't even understand that. They have a thing, you don't appeal, you go through an appellate process. The first court that because we had lawsuits and we went to the federal, if you sue, we sued the city in federal court. The first step is your district court. Your district court, and then you appeal it to the circuit court, and that's an appellate court. The next step outside the the you got the district court, you got the circuit court, and then you go to the Supreme Court, and you don't appeal it to the Supreme Court. You have what's called a certiorari to the Supreme Court, and they pick and choose what cases they're going to look at. They don't just you just can't go to the Supreme Court and say, here, boom, deal with this. They can what a lot of times they'll send it back down to the circuit court, and then maybe eventually it goes to the Supreme Court. So pretty much the Supreme Court, they sit on their ass all day. It has nothing to do with justice. What they do is interpret constitutional issues. A police officer going into a church, arresting somebody, and found out that the person was the wrong person. First of all, he violated the First Amendment Act of the person. There's a law where if you're going to court and you're going to court for something and the cop arrests you in the process of you going to court, that's unconstitutional. There's a lot of things that's unconstitutional. You have the right to remain silent. That's Fifth Amendment. You have a religious right. That's why they really can't mess with us, because we have a religious right. All you got to do is throw out the First Amendment. And if they do arrest you, then you go to the courts, and then it goes eventually, if the Supreme Court accepts it, it goes to the Supreme Court and they rule on it, whether it's constitutional or not. That's all they do. It ain't now I'm going to change the lives of Black folk. So you jakes and clowns, man. You don't know what the hell's going on. And you ain't going to get no reparation. First of all, Issa ain't got no money for no goddamn reparation. They're producing money out of thin air, as I've said. So they considered it. They had meetings on it. Let me see, HR 117, Congress, 2001, 2022, shown here, introducing House Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposal for African Americans Act. This bill establishes I don't know how old you guys are, but I remember as a kid, they had the, rock something, and there was a cartoon with a song called I'm Just a Bill. I'm just a bill, or I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Anyway, if you put that up, it'll probably come up on YouTube. And that's how we learned certain laws, like a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing. We learned that off at school. I think it's called School Rock, something like that, for you older cats. But a bill is something that you present. It's in the Congress, and they speak on it, and then they eventually vote whether it could be a law. So in order for you to get reparations, this bill has to become a law, and they'll decide, okay, every descendant of a family of African Americans will get $10 million, or you guys don't have to pay taxes on anything ever in life. When you work on a job, they can't take taxes. When you get gas, they got to deduct the taxes. You just get the money free and clear. Plus, on top of that, you get $5 million, whatever the case may be, or free education for life. Free medical and dental services for life. So it's not always money. So it says this bill establishes the commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. The commission shall examine slavery. So this is what it's all about. So let me copy and paste that because I want to look up the word slavery. And discrimination, we're being discriminated to this very minute. Anytime you go in the store, certain stores, you notice some white guy following you around. That's the store security. And why is he following you around? Because he's discriminating. He said, oh, I see a nigga, let me follow that nigga around. If you was a so-called white man with a business suit on, they're not going to follow you around. So that's discrimination. All right. in the colonies and the United States from 1619 to the present. And by the way, you had a bunch of Jakes that are unlearned say that 1619 to what was it? 2019, that's 400 years, and that's a fulfillment of Acts 7 and also Genesis 15. 400 years, you should be afflicted 400 years. That's not talking about that. That was talking about ancient Mizraim, Egypt. It says the commission shall examine slavery and discrimination in the colonies in the United States from 1619. And the only reasonable offer would be $100 million for each. I could say family, $100 million. And even that's not going to take care of it. But something that would be considered fair is $100 million to each Jake family. From 1619 to the present, to right now, it's April 8th, 2022, the year of Yahweh Shemal Shai turning up. And he has turned up. The Most High and the Son has turned up the present and recommended appropriate remedies to make them happy. So my thing would be $100 million to each family. And you know how quick most of you Jakes will run out of money? You don't need no goddamn money. You know, it says, speaks about a niggardly person. It says, the commission shall identify, one, the role of the federal and state governments. So this reparation is based upon the federal government and the state governments, because whatever state you were enslaved in, they won't have to pay you off, or your foreparents, and the federal government, because they had laws protecting slave owners and supporting the institution of slavery. So both the federal and state governments both supported the institution of slavery. Forms of, and this is something that Vocab Malone runs from. You know, if you, anytime you quote Revelation 13, 9 and 10, he said, doesn't mean what it says. But what the hell does it mean? What does it mean? It says forms of discrimination. So you got to pay for that. The fact that you know, I walk into a store and you follow me around in the public and private sectors. We've been discriminated against certain jobs we couldn't get because we were a certain color. Sectors against the sectors against the freed slaves and their descendants. That's talking about us. Lingering negative effects of slavery on living African Americans and society. So we're affected by what our foreparents had to do. So now I want to go into a couple of precepts off the top of the dome. And then I want to get into the first subject. So I'm kind of going backwards. Let's put it, oh, I'm sorry, let's put in slavery. This way. Slavery. You know what? Let me go. Slavery definition in history. Let me hit images. I didn't put the black slavery. I didn't put transatlantic slavery. I didn't put slave American slavery. I just put in slavery, and look what you see. Look what pops up. Look what pops up. Auction blocks. Ye shall be sold. Now, I was listening to somebody, and they said that the sugar industry, sugar was only for the super rich because it was a hard process to, process the from the sugar cane to pure, cane sugar, as they call it. And what brought the price down dramatically, where everybody can have sugar, is the slaves. Oh, we got people that can process it, and we don't got to pay them nothing because we got a gun trained on their head, or we got a whip. So this is your reality, Esau. You see, you got the whip, keeping them in line. This is a heinous crime. Look at that. Got him yoked up. You had the Arabs working with him. Look, he doesn't look like he's happy. Chain around his neck. Let me see what this is all about. And you got the so-called slave master, and you got the woman out there working for free. This is your reality, Esau. Living in shacks, still living in shacks. I picked up this Issacharite woman, little cute thing, and she was living in a fucking shack. It was about 12 shacks. I mean, shacks. Like you can go there and just make a slave movie right there. Don't need no props or nothing. I said, God damn. I said, Issachar, they be catching. She went to a rich person's house to clean their damn house for about 12, 13 hours. I was flirting with her, of course, even though she didn't know English. Yeah, he's a little cute little, it's correct. Let me see. Here we go again. This is not from a movie. This is not scenes from a movie, a fantasy, a nightmare. This is reality. This is reality. These are Arabs. Okay, one guy with this Arab is going to chop this guy and chop his head. So vocab, if there is a God, which there is, and he's about justice, which he is, especially for his people, what's the payback? Remembering your weekly pledge to the mass AS society, whatever the hell that means. And they used to call us Hebos, not Hebrews, but Hebos. So there's going to be a change of worlds, man. You are going to experience captivity in a big way. Just arrived the something ranger, whatever, a parcel of prime slaves, which are to be sold on Thursday. I can't read that, January 1769. by William Summer and all, whatever. To be sold Wednesday, a cargo, excuse me, all right, where am I? A cargo, and we were cargo. We were cargo. We were a commodity. 1774. So what happened to us will happen to you. Slave ships. They stacked us like that, for economic reasons, to save money. You don't want to take 2 trips or 3 trips. This boat is not built for comfort. It's a plan of lower deck with the storage of 292 slaves, 130 of these being stowed under the shells, and as what is that? Shown in, I guess that means shown in figure, whatever. But look at that. Look at that. I'm going to that. Matter of fact, you had like rum, you had other things, weapons, cannons, and then you had slaves right here. They stacked you in there. It's heinous. Heinous that this is what you got to pay for. Adjustment to the ship. Slavery in the Hebrew Bible. Look like Jake's right there. Okay. Were Hebrews ever slaves in ancient Egypt? Yes, they were. And these are what the Hebrews look like, the Israelites look like. So-called black people. You see the fro? He kind of looks like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he was young. Blue Alcindor, the old heads out there. So look at this. Look at the older gentleman with the beard. A picture speaks 1,000 words. There was one I passed it. It said they were from it was Guyana. Passed that one. Slavery in ancient Egypt. They keep comparing the slaves in ancient Egypt to the slaves of modern Egypt. You can see that the facial feature, the phenotypes. These are the Egyptians. They got the whips. These are the Israelites. That's your root. They left from Europe, England, these parts right here, Europe, went down into Africa, got the slaves, dropped off commodities, took the slaves to America, dropped them off, got commodities, and brought it back to Europe again. I mean, you can't take it back. You can't turn back the wheels of time. You did it. The aliens didn't come down and do this. You white people, you did that. Inside joke. And this is what they don't want in their schools. Citizens' arrests are rooted in violence and slavery. So you got these Edomites grabbing up this one Jake to bring him back to the plantation. And they're not going to be no runaway slaves in our kingdom. You ain't going to run away. I just want to stay on this for a while. This will be your reality soon, Esau. Another thing that vocab says the Edomites were done away with, no receipts. This is John Henry, and I believe he said, correct me if I'm wrong, that he knew that these were the Israelites, that you're doing it to the people of God. And the wages that you get is nothing but slave rate wages. $15 an hour is fucking slave wages. Shit, now you got New York, go to a place, old raggedy place in the hood, it's gonna cost you like, you know, 1,500 a month. This is gonna be your reality. If you notice, you got Edomites, so-called white people standing around. They're not concerned about, and this is a family, this is the family, and this is the auctioneer. So once they didn't care, they didn't say, well, every once in a while they'll take the whole family, but sometimes they would take the woman and the child, or sometimes would just take the child, and then another plantation owner would take the woman, then another. So they broke up families. So you got a lot to pay for. That's the last thing in the world you want to be as an Edomite. That's the last thing you want to be as an Edomite. So you can keep believing that the Edomites were done away with. Keep dreaming, Vocab Malone. Let me come back here. History of slavery. Let me go here. Let's see what this says. slavery condition in which one human being was owned by another. A slave was considered by law as property or chattel and was deprived of most of the rights ordinarily held by free persons. These are all facts that you have to deal with. Let me come over here. You read a little bit of this. Let me go to chattel slavery. Chattel slavery as a social institution. Chattel slavery classes slaves as chattel, personal property, meaning we were commodities owned by the enslaved, the slave master, the plantation owner, like livestock, like cows, pigs, goats, lambs, bulls. They can be bought and sold at will, while some form of slavery was common throughout human history. The specific notion of chattel slavery reached its modern extreme in the Americas. But they keep saying, God bless America. Don't make America great again. During European Edomites, Americans, Edomites, Europeans, Edomites, colonization, beginning in the 18th century, 1700s, and abolitionist movement saw slavery as a violation of everyone's right as a person. All men are created equal and sought to abolish it. This movement was successful. The last Western country to abolish slavery was Brazil, did so in 1888. The last third world country to abolish slavery, Mauritania, did not do so until 1981. And like I said, they don't want this to be taught in schools, in American schools. Oh, it's gonna hurt the little white kids. Well, it's gonna hurt them more when they go into slavery. When our kingdom comes, any of you Edomites that have children, they're gonna be born right into slavery. Just like our foreparents, when they were born right into slavery. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. When you're born in this world, Deuteronomy 28 fits us. Anyway, and we all know the precepts, Isaiah 14, 1 and 2, Revelation 13, 9 and 10, Revelation 2, verse 25 and 26, Psalms 2, you can read that whole chapter, it's a short chapter. So there's so many precepts on that subject. And it says that Baruch said that we will wake up in the land of our the land of our captives, merely paraphrasing. So we are those people. We are those people. So now what I wanted to do is go into Ephesians. I titled the video, The Work of the Ministry. What I want to do is I want to start from the first verse. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but I'll read some of it. unity of the spirit. It says, I therefore that the prisoner of the Lord Yahweh Shai beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherein ye are called. Let me look up the word vocation in the Greek. See, this is a job. You don't get saved by being a cheerleader. You know, you don't get delivered by waiting for I can't wait till the next video come up and you sitting there, you know, with a box of popcorn and a Pepsi and some cognac. You smoking a blunt. That's not going to save you. We're not here to entertain you, but a lot of our people get entertained by watching the videos.
Psalms G 28:21, 26.
It means a calling to, a call, invitation to a feast. Of Matthew 22 comes to mind, of the divine invitation to embrace salvation in the Most High. And how do you do that? You got to do this work. You got to push this work. Matthew 10:5 all the way down the rest of the chapter. So this is a calling. So the scriptures say many are called, but few are chosen. So how do you know if you're chosen? When you're called, you do the work. That's what you do. You get right into you're hired for a job and you do that work. You don't do the work for 6 months and then chill out, or an X amount of years. Like in IUIC, I guess there's a system where if you do so many years on the street, you don't got to go on the street no more. Put them young brothers out there. Nah, you got to still be out there on the highways and the byways. So any of you guys think that you're going to make it, and your mindset is, oh, I'm going to listen and learn, and I'm going to be a cheerleader. Now you have people that are helpers, like Joseph of Arimathea. He'll be delivered because he did a great act for the Lord in his burial. It says, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the spirit and the bond of peace. And then, you got people, and these are people that don't really know the scriptures. They'll say, well, why can't all of y'all just put your differences aside and just come together? Because that would bring mass confusion. You got certain groups like GOCC teach that Edomites and other nations can be saved. And they got Edomites and other nations in their congregation. They said there is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. One Lord. So if it's one Lord, does he have 5 names? He has one name, Yahweh. And if you listen to watch the Passover that the IUIC put together, it was opened up with Bishop Nathaniel, that's in the Hebrew. Nathaniel is hillbilly Hebrew. He's opened up with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And even Bishop Kanai said Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. But then when you listen in, the congregation said, who's the king? Christ. Who's the king? Christ. So they better come all the way around then. Like I said, Bishop Nathaniel said Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and then he referenced us. He didn't mention our names. He said, because those guys get goosebumps when they hear the name. So he made a joke out of it. He's playing with this word, man. And another thing, they had the Passover on the full moon. And the full moon is not the new moon. If the spirit was with you, you would know that. It says one Lord. So if it's one Lord, the one Lord has one name, not 10 names. One faith, meaning one belief, one baptism, one power and Father of all, who has one name. And it says in Romans 10, it speaks about the name, who is above all and through all and in you all. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Yahushua. So some men are more diligent than others. Some are not diligent at all. Let me jump down to okay, I'm going to start at the 11th verse. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers. For what reason? For the perfecting. What does the word perfect means? It means 100%. I remember years ago in the 70s, you had Olga Korbut, I believe her name was, out of Russia, and she became famous. She was a gymnast, and every exercise she did, she got straight up 10s. That's perfection. And then the next Olympics, I believe it was Nadia Comaneci. She did the same thing. Everything that she did, all the floor exercises were all 10s. And recently you have what's her name? I can't. The Jake chick. She would always get 10s. So the difference between a gold medal and a silver medal and a bronze medal is the gold medalist does the routine perfectly. The other two do it very well, but there's a niche, glitch, niche, whatever. They might have stumbled a little bit. Oh, you get 9.5. That's a damn good score, but it ain't gonna get you a gold medal. So everything has to be perfect. That's why you have to study to show thyself approved. You know, when you make statements like, you know, this is something recent. What Will Smith did to Chris Rock should go and pop Jada Pinkett Smith. Right then and there, I would have got up and left. They thought I was going to the bathroom and wouldn't. I would do what's called an Irish exit. Look that up, an Irish exit. It says, and he gave some apostles, which are teachers, and some prophets, which are teachers, and some evangelists, which are teachers, and some pastors, which are teachers, and some teachers, which are teachers. So all these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all these positions are positions of teaching. For the what? For the perfecting of the saints. Who are the saints? The Israelites, starting with the elect. For the work. Why they have to be perfected? Because they're going to be out there doing the work. For the work of the ministry. What's the ministry? This teaching this doctrine. What's the work? The act of doing it. For the edifying of the body of Yahushua. And see, we're the top. This is why we're apostles. That's the top. You can't get any higher than the apostle. This is why Bishop Nate can't be an apostle. He can't be an apostle. He has to fully repent. Then he can be an apostle. Other than that, he can keep that little lowly bishop position, which a bishop is nothing but somebody that's in charge of the church. All right. You notice the term bishop is not mentioned here. Bishop is not necessarily a teacher. All right. That's some old Roman Catholic. He's half a Roman Catholic. The highest position that you can get in the teaching of this truth is an apostle. And Bishop Nathaniel will never be an apostle unless he comes And he knows it in the spirit. He wouldn't dare call himself an apostle. I dare you to call yourself an apostle. You wouldn't dare call yourself an apostle because you would have to have 100% truth. You would have to teach that the MOTB is the charagma. You would have to teach that the name of the Most High is Yahweh and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai, as you did over 20 years ago. The Most High's name is Yahweh and his Son's name is Yahweh Shai. Oh, you gotta do something about that new moon, full moon BS, because that's BS. Okay. And I got one precept. All I need is one precept, man, to knock that shit out. I got one precept, and it's in the Apocrypha. The new moon is when you can't see the moon, or you see a sliver of the moon. What else? Well, if he gets the MOTB right, he gets the new moon right, he starts calling on the name of the Most High. You know, he starts going back on the highways and the byways. Then you can call yourself an apostle. It says for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Yahweh Shai. So the work of the ministry is going out there teaching. That's why I'm famous in Africa and in Europe and around the world. I'm famous all around the world. Not just me, but myself, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ramlab, Apostle Rakar, the bishops, which they're apostles anyway. They're apostles. The elders, the up and coming elders, the elders of GMS. You got great elders out there that's constantly putting in work. That's who the Most High is looking for. It goes on to say, and I like reading this. I love this chapter right here. Till we all come in the unity of the faith. So how are we going to have a unity camp when one guy's teaching one thing and the next guy speaker is teaching something else? Or one guy calls the name of the Most High Yah, and the other guy calls the name of the Most High Ahaya, by Hashem Yeshaya. Can you imagine us getting together with the GOCC, with those clowns? Because they're way off. 13th verse. Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of the Most High unto a perfect man. 12th verse, for the perfecting of the saints unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness. If you go to the store and you order a drink and it's a 16-ounce cup and they give you 8 ounces, I'm not paying for this. I pay for a full 16. So that's what a lot of these camps, they got 8 ounces in a 12-ounce cup. This is unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of the Messiah. That ye henceforth, the rape doctrine. That might sound harsh, but it's true. And see, you guys don't go deep. You don't go into the Hebrew. You don't go into maps. You don't understand the culture. Another thing on IUIC. You got guys with they get together, look like a scene from the Star Wars movies at the bar. Yeah, guys with half dreadlocks, half afros with an afro pick in it. You got guys with bald heads. You got guys with menorahs shaving into their head. I'm just joking. Y'all don't do that. But you might as well. You got guys with dreadlocks. You got guys with long hair. And the Apostle Paul got into that. And the reason why he said men not to have long hair, the reason why they had long hair in Corinth, because they were following the customs of the Greeks, meaning they were following those the Minoans and the what's the other name? The Picts, the Minoans, which were Japhet, the Japhites, which they had that region that you called Rome and Greece and the Corinth and even England. All that whole region was occupied by the Etruscans, the Minoans, which are the sons of Japhet, and they had the long hair. So you had those Gentile in an Israelite in a Gentile state of mind. That's what we use. That's how we phrase it. They were following a lot of the custom. They had tattoos on them. They were not circumcised. It was a big thing about circumcision back there. So, you know, these different, a man shouldn't have dreadlocks. They shouldn't have crazy looking hair. You know, they shouldn't be having long hair or none of that. And if you can't, like with us, what is it about? It's about the perfecting of the saints. If you got dreadlocks, you're not perfect. You're not perfect. It says 14, I'm gonna get ready to close. It says, Ephesians 4 verse 14, that ye henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. So all these different camps, they got their own doctrine. Guess who has the right doctrine? Doctrine meaning singular, are the men of GMS. By the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie and wait to deceive. Now, this individual, Captain Joel of the IUIC, he did a video about the mark and he botched it up. He got it completely wrong. And you can be, you know, you can lose your salvation for, and then you know what? You can't say that you didn't know, because the Most High set up the true men of the Most High, which are the men of GMS. '15 verse, but speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Hamashiach, from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted, so there's no holes in the doctrine. IUIC got all kind of holes in their doctrine. They got most of it right, but the Most High doesn't. He's not interested in mostly right. He's interested in perfect. You know, you give somebody an item. You know, you get the box, you open it up, there's something missing from it. You're gonna go back to the store. By that which every joint supplieth, according, so we're supposed to be constantly teaching, constantly teaching, constantly teaching. Eat this roll and go and teach the sons or the children of Israel. That's why we're so famous. That's why Vocab Malone loses sleep, because we're not enough of you. And if you're not doing videos, you shouldn't be in the GMS. If you're not consistently doing videos, you shouldn't be in GMS, because guess what? You're not of the elect. Many are called, but few are chosen. Yes, you were called, but were you chosen? Are you of the elect? Are you anointed? Did you receive the unction that you all know all things? Why do you think Tazadakia, the so-called God-sent comforter, the Most High took his ass out without remedy? Because he was doing his own thing. And pretty much the ICGJC is pretty much, they're in the grave right now. Ain't nobody talking about them. They don't make no videos. They're not on the highways and the byways. That's just an old church. It said to the effectual working and the measure of every part. So every part got to be working, right? That's in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Maketh increase of the body unto edifying it of itself in love. So if you're not doing this work, if you haven't grown in this thing, then guess what? You're lying to yourself. And when those ships come, when you see the ships, you're gonna look to get beamed up, and you ain't gonna get beamed up. You're gonna be down there with some Edomite, and a missile gonna come and get you and the Edomite and your family. You know, so this work is important, imperative. Once you get into, hey, look, what made Michael Jordan great? He worked. He didn't get by with skills. He had to work. Kobe, what made him great? He had to work. Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson. Anybody that's on the top, the first round of the pick NBA draft, the first pick is the guy that excelled in the college ranks. That's why everybody gets into the March Madness, because they already know, yeah, this guy, he gonna be the guy. That guy, he gonna be second pick. You know? And they expect big things out of him. Look, LeBron James didn't even go to college. He went straight from high school to the NBA. He got I remember he got a $10 million contract with the first team he played with was Cleveland. And with the Cavaliers, he got a $10 million check, which he became a millionaire. But then the bigger check, it was $90 million from Nike. Was it Nike? I believe it was Nike. Correct me if I'm wrong. Why? Because he did work. He excelled. You got to be on fire. The scriptures speak about being lukewarm or being on fire. If you're lukewarm, the Most High going to spew you out of his mouth. It's like you're eating something that tastes good. Let's say you're eating a cake, and all of a sudden you get a taste of saltiness. You're going to spit that out. So that's what the Most High is going to do. We've seen a lot of guys come, and we see a lot of people go back out. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.